I see, the characteristics that it takes to improve. I mean, obviously, you have to have, discipline and determination, and you have to have patience, because you never know when things are just going to click for you. And I see this all the time in coaching. I mean, one thing that was amazing with Tiger is he never once said to me, he never said, Hank, how long do you think it's going to take me to get this? Or how long do you think before I get to here, get to there? I mean, all he really cared about was that he was, on the right road, headed in the right direction, and he was working his way, toward the end. And the end for him never gets there, because once he gets someplace, he just wants to go a little farther and a little farther and a little farther. And it was interesting when some of the other players that are, kind of trying to catch him on the tour, like Ernie Els or Vijay Singh or Adam Scott, they made the comment, I don't want to catch Tiger, I want to be number one. And Tiger looked at me and he said, what, do these guys not think that I'm going to get any better? And that's the thing, he's going to keep trying to improve. So, to do that, though, you have to have the right attitude. Whenever I'm teaching juniors, when parents come to me and bring their child to me for lessons, I mean, the first thing that I concentrate on is having a proper attitude, because without the attitude, you're never going to get better. I mean, it's a foregone conclusion that if you're a student and we're teaching you, that you're going to have a great golf swing. I don't know how long it'll take. I don't know if it's going to take a month or a semester or a year or how long it's going to take, but you will have a great golf swing. But it doesn't mean that you're going to be a great player, because you have to have a lot of other things. You have to have the right attitude. You have to be able to manage your game and yourself. You have to have a good short game. You have to putt. I mean, there's just so many factors that go into playing better golf. But to me, it all starts with the attitude. And if you have that part right, and you have a good positive attitude, and you work hard and you're patient, there's no reason that anyone can't achieve, really, really high, lofty goals. One of the things that I see, when I think of things that the great champions have, and one thing that I'd like, if I look of what I'd like to teach everyone, and when I talk about their golf game, I talk about, having the ability to play just one shot at a time. I mean, I think that's probably the hardest thing in golf, and it's just kind of, that's really the way that you accomplish anything in life, really. I mean, just one little step at a time. When you're playing golf, it's just one shot at a time. You just take enough little steps, or hit those one shots at a time, and the next thing you know, you've got a good round on your hand. But what happens to a lot of times is that players don't have the right attitude, and they don't play one shot at a time. They get ahead of themselves, or they look behind at something that's already happened, and that's some of the things that we'll be working on with you. And that's one thing that I've learned. People ask me, Hank, what's the one thing you've probably seen out of Tiger that's the most impressive thing? And I think that's probably it, that he plays one shot at a time, and he never quits. He never ever quits. I mean, I've taught so many great players on the different tours, but I've also worked with a lot of great athletes. I mean, champions in other sports. They all love to play golf, and they all want to come take lessons from the teachers that they've heard of. So I've had an opportunity to work with a lot of great champions. But I've never seen anyone that has less quit in him than Tiger Woods. He just never gets down on himself. He'll get mad. He gets plenty mad. But he doesn't get down on himself. And he never, ever quits. He just plays one shot at a time. He never quits. And as a result, it makes him, to me, to be the best loser I've ever seen. Because when he gets done, he knows he absolutely, positively gave his best. And it's a great characteristic to have. I had the opportunity to visit with his father, shortly before he died. And I asked him, I said, how did you teach Tiger to never quit? And I'll share that story with you, because it's one of my favorites. And through the year, I'll share a lot of stories with all the kids. But since all your parents are here, I'll share this with you too. And he's told me, he said, Hank, Tiger was playing in a junior golf tournament over Christmas, the Orange Bowl tournament. I'm sure most of you have heard of it, and probably some of you have played in it. Down in Miami, and it was Tiger's 13th birthday. And that day that he came out on the tee, and they all sang him happy birthday, and it was a nice happy day. And he got on the first tee and hit a bad tee shot, and he bogeyed the first hole, and he three-putted the second hole, and the third hole he hit it in the trap and didn't get up and in, so he's 3 over after 3. And next thing you know, he's kind of got his head down, like all of us are prone to do it one time or another, but especially kids. And he's kind of moping around a little bit, and he didn't have a good day at all. Had a bad attitude going, And that day, his father, he pulled him aside and he told him, he said, you can't act like that. And his dad was a tough man. He's a Green Beret, but we really had a soft heart, and it was really Tiger's mother who was the real disciplinarian in the family. But that day, Tiger's dad got on him. He'd never gotten on him before, and he got real loud with him, and he told him, he said, I don't know who you think you are acting like that out there, that golf doesn't owe you anything, that this tournament doesn't owe you anything, I don't owe you anything. The only person that owes anybody anything is you owe it to yourself to try your best every single time and every single shot and give it your best 100% all the time. And the way you acted today, you didn't do that. You quit. And Tiger got real, defensive. He didn't say a word because he'd never seen his dad get upset like that. And he said the next day that his dad told me they flew back to California, Tiger sat next to him. He never said a word the whole time back to California. He said 2 days went by, he never said a word the whole time. And finally, after the second day, Tiger came up to his dad and he said, Pop, I heard every word you said. I'll never quit again. He said that was the last time he ever quit. And that's the thing that I admire most about him, is that he keeps plugging along, he never quits, and he always gives it his best. So I think that those are some of the life's lessons that hopefully a lot of you have already learned, and we're going to continue to teach you and see the traits that the great champions have and how they go about things and the focus that they have and the determination and the desire. And it's so different from other people. And I see the same thing with other great athletes that I watch, because everybody seems to love to play golf, other athletes in other sports. So I've worked with many athletes from all different sports, whether it be Emmett Smith or Michael Andretti or some of the baseball players, Mark McGwire. I mean, I've just had so many great opportunities. Charles Barkley, that's quite a challenge if you've ever seen his swing. But those are always, great opportunities for me. And I've worked with many, many different people in the business world, many great CEOs and of great companies. And it's just always a good learning experience to be around people that are so successful in what they do. I've helped many different politicians. As a matter of fact, one year I had the opportunity to go to Indonesia, and I was there to teach the professionals of Indonesia how to teach golf. And the day I got there, they picked me up at the airport, and they said, tomorrow you play with the president. Well, I thought they said, meant the president of the Golf Association or the president of the golf club or whatever. And the next thing, they pointed this picture up in the airport, and it was President Suharto. And they said, tomorrow you play with him. So it turned out every day for 3 weeks, I played and taught the president of Indonesia. So it was a great experience for me. Didn't quite know what to do prior to the lesson, but we had golf in common. We'd walk to the practice tee, and I never quite knew what to say. How'd everything go at the Palace today, or and it wasn't easy for me. But once we got talking about golf and I got to teaching and everything worked out, and because that's what I do, and I have a passion for it. I mean, I think to be successful at anything, you have to have a passion for what you do, and golf happens to be my subject. It's what I do. It's what I like to do. I've studied, I've read about every book I could read on not only golf, but on instruction and education. I love listening to other teachers, to other coaches. I know Coach Holtz talked to you yesterday, and I've spent some time around him. I've actually given him a couple golf lessons, but more importantly, I've learned from listening to him, because he's a great motivator, a great teacher, and a really interesting person. And he's had a great impact on a lot of people's lives. But I think you need passion, you need a knowledge of your subject. I mean, and this goes for whether you're teaching or selling or whatever you're doing. And I think obviously the greater the knowledge, the better your ability to communicate what you need to communicate to your students, in my case, or your customers.